siduu deeqma waayo dunida u abuuro dadka yidhi u hawlgala an idinku daaje haddii daacad laga yahay duhurkiina la aadimo waxadii lahaa roob dal wanaajiyaho dajiyow loodhan lahaa dal wanaajiyaho
The interesting thing is we had a student yesterday, for example, who, any student who speaks a language other than English, requires testing. That's federal law. We have to assess to determine if they need English services. So we had a family of 6 come in, and the brother had come in. The brother's English was really quite good and helped register the other 5 siblings and himself. Well, he said that the one sibling, his sister, had mental problems, and that's all he kept saying. And we don't, I mean, I don't really know what that means, because that can mean a multitude of different things. So we said, make sure you bring her with tomorrow when they came back for testing. Well, then when we got here, we realized that we were unable to assess her because she didn't have the skill set necessary to be assessed. The other issue that you will find in the Somali community is that families, especially new families that have students with disabilities, will generally try to keep them at home. Because growing up in a refugee camp, if you had a student with a disability, that child generally did not go out and about among other people. It was kind of seen as shame on the family, so the student was kept at home, with a parent or a sibling or whatever, but never attended school. And so here, when we were explaining to Mom, well, that doesn't matter. We're happy to take her in school. We'll have special classes for her, she'll have special busing, all of the things that we will do. And Mom was crying when she left because she couldn't believe that we would do that much for her daughter. Wow. There's a lot more outreach going on. And we've learned that, we can't say, like if you say special education, that has a certain connotation, but if you let parents know that if we give these tests and we find out the results, we're going to be able to offer your child more support than they're currently getting. So it's all in how you frame things. Then they're, generally quite happy to do that. Somali families all refer to themselves as refugees because that's the status they have to use to enter the country.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So when they come in, generally through New York, they stop with Homeland Security and they're given a card that's called an I-94, and it has their name and birth date and place of birth on it. And then they're given, every family member has their picture taken, and it's all set out on, a piece of paper, and it'll say, Office of Refugee Settlement. So it's not a secret, or, they all know as well. I would say the biggest issue that we run into with that is that a lot of times they lived in areas where they didn't keep track of the specific date, and there's no birth record. So everybody's birthday is like 1/1 of whatever year. So if you're 10, if you come into the country and then the Homeland Security or immigration asks you how old is the child, and you say 10, but you don't know when their birthday is, well then their birthday was 1/1/05. So, and that's an issue for a lot of our families, especially when they get here and they realize that maybe their child is younger because Muslims go by the lunar calendar, not the 12-month calendar. So if they didn't understand that because they hadn't had access to education themselves, they might be a year to a year and a half younger than they actually are.
And then when they come into the school system,
we have age-appropriately placed students. So if they're 6, they would go into, well, right now they'd be in kindergarten, but, they could be 4. Yeah. Parents can do if they really have a concern is get a bone scan. That's what the attorney for the school district has recommended. However, that's like a $1,500 to $1,600 assessment.
Oh my gosh.
Because then they'll check how the bones have fused, because as you age, they fuse together because you're not growing anymore. So they will use that, but again, it's extremely expensive for a group of people who came here with very little.
Yeah.
Some people have tried to use dental records, but the problem with that is, I still have baby teeth in 6th grade, so that doesn't really prove anything.
Yeah.
So that's really our attorney. The school district attorney has said the only thing we can really use is that bone scan, which is extremely expensive. And it's not covered by any insurance. It generally impacts more of our families who are newer because, again, if they're born here, they'll have official birth records from the U.S. because every state issues those. So it really impacts our families who are more brand new to the country. Today I was at the blood drive at Apollo's. I went and gave blood, and there were several Somali students there giving blood, which was fantastic because, of course, you know, their involvement is critical.
Yeah.
And I was asking one of the students, I said, so is this your first time? She goes, yeah, I'm only 17, but I got my mom's permission. She said, we need, everybody in the Somali community needs to do this because, as you know, especially when it comes to like transplants and that kind of thing, it's better if you have a racial match. Even if the blood type and all that stuff is the same, if you have a racial match, it's actually better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so she was learning all about that, and she was all excited about it, so.
Was her mom kind of like scared about it, I guess, and then?
No, her mom wasn't there. She just had to sign permission that it was okay
Okay.
for her to donate. But she said she was going to go back home and make sure that all her family did that, and they were all going to put donor on their driver's licenses. And,
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
well, because they give you all this literature saying, you know, it's easier to find a donor match within the same racial community, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess I didn't really think about blood donations and stuff like that.
Well, and that's not something that, of course, they're used to because
Right.
a lot of times, you know, it wasn't done because if you don't know what somebody's blood type, I just can't give to you. So, you know, they didn't, that wasn't something that was a part of their community, but now we're finding families that live here, and of course, they want to be part of the community, and that's something you can do for your community, so, yep, very much involved.
I wonder if it's like culturally taboo for them to give.
Just like take blood.
Yeah,
out
to
of
take
it.
blood out. Because I know in some cultures, like my culture, like the Hmong culture, like it's kind of like taboo, and like they believe that like when you pass away, then like you won't go, like you won't be reincarnated or you won't go to heaven. Like, so I'm just wondering, like.
I
don't
didn't
know,
seem to be because I saw several
It's just,
Somali students
yeah.
giving blood today, so.
That's good, yeah.
That's awesome.
No.
Would you say more so it's like, if there was a shock in like when all the Somali people came here at first perhaps, and now it's sort of just in everything's going well, or do you think that there's any major pressing issues that need to be addressed?
You know, I wasn't here when the Somalis first started to come to St. Cloud because I was still in Las Vegas at the time. But I would say that comparatively, in the 5 years that I've been here, I have seen a much more accepting community now than when I arrived 5 years ago. However, you've heard about the recent events at Tech High School, I'm sure, and some of that kind of stuff. That, to me, is more pockets of things that happen versus a community sense of what's happening. Because, I mean, if you look at Tech High School, they have, you know, there were 60 kids outside, and there are probably 300 Somali students at Tech. You know, so them representing for everybody is, I mean, it's the same as me standing up for every German Catholic in Stearns County. I don't want to do that,
Right.
you know, but I would say the community itself has gotten much more accepting in the 5 years that I've been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any more. I don't know.
Did you have anything you wanted to do? Or, like, additional?
Miscellaneous.
Not that I guess I don't think that much about healthcare because all of our families that come in, like we ask on the registration form what clinic they belong to in case there'd be an emergency so that we can contact. And a lot of our families go right here to Centricare or to Health Partners. I mean, so they're all given access to medical care, which is spectacular because when I moved here 5 years ago, I thought, oh, well, I'll just pick up a Centricare clinic. I called 3, and none of them would take new patients. And I was like, seriously? So I called my home clinic in Sauk Center, and they said, of course, Natalie, you were born here. We'll take you.
Yeah.
And now they are Centricare, so now I can go anywhere here in St. Cloud that I want to, too. But, yeah. So they have, yeah. So their access is good. I think the biggest thing that we're running into now is those students that are coming and the families that are coming with trauma. That's going to be a bigger issue in the mental health arena because people who could get out got out. So now with the lottery system that we have for refugees, you know, your number is higher in the lottery if you could prove extortion or being, you know, something was happening at the camps that, you know, detrimental to your family, that kind of thing. They're higher in the lottery. So I think we are going to start to see more students, parents, families with trauma coming in. So we're really trying to be proactive in that. When I was at that refugee meeting, there's only one person in Centricare who works with that, and of course that isn't going to be enough anymore. So
Maybe I can tell my roommate she's a psychology major.
There you
to
go.
Get into that industry.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
If you have any more questions, you can sure shoot me an email.
Yeah, and we'll I guess once we have our stuff, we can send it your way, and so you can approve. And
Oh,
say-
sure.
Mhm.
Maybe you send you a DVD. And
Yeah.
So are you doing this for a class?
It's a transnational anthropology,
Wow. I went to U of M in Morris. We didn't have that class.
and it's some people are doing education and then religion. What are the other ones? Someone's doing independent on a pop star. I don't know.
Yeah, another one was the FAMSAC that happened at schools, and then it was
Yeah.
sort of blown out of proportion. I think the same
Yes, I would agree.
thing.
I would agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone has to do a documentary and reach
Sure.
out to people. So it's been kind of hard for us because I mean, not a lot of people want to talk about healthcare. And
As long as it's not my health care, I don't care.
right. So I think that's why we approached it this way, getting people to talk about how they view the healthcare system and stuff. So
And there are several Somali students at St. John's. Have you spoken with any of them?
we tried.
I've reached out to them by email, but they
Yeah.
didn't. I think
I think they're pretty busy
Yeah.
because I just teach one course out at St. Ben's in the fall.
Oh.
And so when I go out there, I've run into several students who graduated from here, so they know me because I'm the person who tested them when they first came into the district and whatnot. And so we've chatted, but they're involved in practically every committee on campus.
Yeah.
They were telling me. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do you get your homework done?
Yeah.
Well, the one I know he applied to be an RA, so I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, so then he probably doesn't have any time.
Right. Do you have any volunteer opportunities here?
Here?
Yeah.
Actually, in my classrooms, in my EL teachers' classrooms, there are oodles of volunteer opportunities. I could use somebody at South Junior High School
Okay.
with my teacher, Diane Magnuson. Anytime you could be over there, she'd be thrilled to have you.
Okay.
The only thing you have to do is clear it with the volunteer office here.
Okay.
So you have to do your background check, which you might have done that already. But it's online, it's on the district website. If you just go into the district and go under volunteers, you just fill out a form
Okay.
and just say you're interested in working with English learner students or whatever it is, and then I can go tell Sonia that you're interested and she'll gladly place you in one of my classrooms.
Okay. So just the school district.
The school district website, yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Fill out the forms right online. Because we would love to have you.
Yeah.
Diane has a class of 30 brand new to country kids now because it's growing as time has gone on. So
Yeah.
any extra hands are absolutely welcome.
I've really been.
The most difficult thing for me is the communication and cultural differences, which make it hard to provide the best possible care for my patients. When a doctor cannot speak to the patient, a Marty cart is used to video translate. However, there's a delay. Sometimes the patient will speak with the translator for about 2 minutes, and the translator will then tell the doctor only a single sentence.